Hey everyone, this is JP Firepledge, and today I'll be bringing you an introduction to the core elements of Buildcraft in Cyberpunk 2077. Let's say you want to be a high-intelligence net hacker capable of taking out enemies with just the power of your thoughts. Or maybe a fist-fighting, buff-body bulldog throwing fiery punches at your foes. If you think it's possible, it's worth a try, and it's also probably pretty busted once you're finished with it. In Cyberpunk, you craft your own skill set based around a dedicated system of attributes and perks, which shape not only the actions you can perform in the game, but even what dialogue options you have available to you. You're able to choose how you want to play, making the game an excellent opportunity to flex your build crafting brain cells. Through this video, I want to open up the avenues for you guys to plan and make your own builds by providing you with a better understanding of how the core pieces of your build will work together. By the end of this video, you'll have an understanding of how each attribute affects your character, a general overview of the game's perk system, the nuances of how attributes affect your leveling progress and progression, and finally, I'll provide you with some additional helpful tips and tools for when you want to plan your builds. Attributes are Cyberpunk's core leveling component and dictate how well you can perform certain actions and what perks you have access to in your skill trees. Each attribute will begin at level 3. V will have the opportunity to allocate 7 points among the 5 attributes at the end of the character creator, and will receive 1 attribute point for each level gained up to the cap at level 50. Body can be thought of as your raw physical prowess. The higher your body stat, the higher your max base health and base stamina will be, and you will do more damage with melee weapons, fists, and the Gorilla Arms arm modification. Additionally, you will receive benefits to your movement when carrying heavy objects, moving bodies, and while grappling your opponents. Intelligence is a blend of your own personal strength of mind as well as the power of the cyber deck that's housed in your head. Each point in intelligence raises your base RAM capacity as well as increasing the damage and duration of your quick hacks. Reflexes is all about how quick you are on the battlefield and how itchy your trigger finger is. Investing in reflexes raises your passive evasion from attacks, increases your base chance for a critical strike, and increases damage with the Mantis Blade's arm modification. Technical ability turns V into a mobile crafting bench and skeleton key. The only per level increase for tech is a multiplicative 5% increase to your armor per level. Cool is your ability to stay out of sight and mind. Increasing cool increases your base critical hit damage, increases resistances to the status of bleeding, poison, shock, and burning, increases your first strike stealth damage multiplier, decreases the rate at which enemies detect you, and increases damage with the mono wire arm modification. As you put points into your core attributes, this in turn determines which perks you are able to unlock, as well as the maximum level that V can reach for the skills associated with that attribute. By using weapons and abilities associated with these skills, they are then leveled to unlock additional bonuses, such as increased base crit chance with pistols and additional perk points. This is by far the deepest part of the video, so we'll be going over using a live demonstration of how attributes, skills, and perks look and function in-game. Okay, so here we are in the in-game demo section of this video. So first I'll be discussing the relationship of attribute points and their use in obtaining perks. Move over to the character screen here. You can see this is my current character attribute build. Whenever I hover over an individual attribute, you'll be able to see the skills associated with that attribute are quickly displayed along with their specific levels of each skill. So athletics at 4, annihilation at 6, handguns at 13 for reflexes. You can see I've currently spec'd very heavily into the technical ability screen here, which within this you can see I have crafting level to 11 and engineering to 9. My technical level is currently at the maximum possible in the game, and as such I can unlock any standard perk in either the crafting or engineering skill trees. So moving into engineering here, you will see that I've done just about that here. Out of the entire skill tree, I've only chosen 2 perks, Superconductor and Tesla. These are ones that give me direct boosts to my tech weapon damage. And so to transition a little bit, I want to talk about this bar here at the bottom of this screen in engineering. This experience bar, called the skill progression bar, will only fill while I'm doing actions which fall under the engineering category of actions. As you perform actions, the progression bar will fill and unlock rewards in the form of passive buffs to your character, as well as additional perk points. So reviewing the rewards, once I level up once more in engineering, you'll see I'll actually receive a perk point that I can use anywhere on the skill tree. And looking backwards, when I hit level 9, I unlocked the increased crit chance by 5% when using tech weapons. And so generally outside of the cold blood skill tree, the passive buffs you gain are in some way related to the skill tree that you've leveled, rewarding you for using skills by making you passively better at those same exact skills. And so on screen, you've been seeing a chart which tells you generally what actions level what skills. And so keeping with engineering, if you want to level this skill while in combat, use weapons which have the tech typing, or if you want to level crafting, you can break down or craft items via your crafting menu. And so this actual PDF here will be in the description below. Feel free to download this and look at this when you're trying to level. And so now I'm going to touch on real quickly the relationship of your character attributes and your skills when you're leveling. So notice my cool attribute is only at level 6. And reviewing the skills in detail, you can see I currently have maxed out my ability to level both stealth and cold blood via their progression bars. So your individual skills levels can only ever reach the current value of your attributes. As you can see here, my level in stealth is max level 6 and cold blood max level 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a point into cool, and we'll now be at cool level 7. And if we go back into stealth and cold blood, you'll see that we no longer have max level next to the actual progression bar, but we are able to level 7 on both skills. And this works the same as all other attributes in the game, so if I was to put a point into body instead of cool, I would now have the ability to level athletics, annihilation, and street baller up to level 7, instead of their current max at level 6. And so before we wrap up, I wanted to give you a couple additional tips in this particular menu while we're live. So attribute points are permanent, but perk points are not. By visiting a Ripper dock in the city and accessing the trade option at the top of the screen, a Ripper will send you a tabula rasa. This item costs 100,000 euro dollars, which is a huge sum if you're not using money exploits, and almost impossible in the early game without it. But this item will reset every single perk in your entire skill tree. And so while you pay a very steep price for this item, this allows you to make mistakes early on with your perks or trade out things in the early game that had short-term benefits for things in the late game which have very big benefits. And so like for my build, where I'm heavily spec'd into reflexes and tech, and I've been using handguns and assault mostly, I'd be able to go into blades and steal these 3 perk points back that I used when I thought katanas were cool for 5 levels. Yeah. And the final tip I have while we're live, I'll go into reflexes. You can see the penultimate perk in any skill tree is at the bottom of the skill tree. So this would be Punisher for assault, handguns would be the good, the bad, and the ugly. And just to clarify this particular skill point, while I'm at max level 20, has still not unlocked for me. So what I need to do to unlock this final perk is to level my level of handguns from level 13 all the way to level 20 and finish the skill progression rewards section down here. And so as a final word of warning in this exact same context, if I zoom out to my actual attributes again, you'll see that I have 20 in reflexes and 20 in technical ability. So in theory, I would be able to get the penultimate perk in both crafting, engineering, handguns, blades, and assault, but would not be able to get it in body or in cool if you do the quick math around my level. And that's something I wanted to make sure you guys are aware of, that if you go for something more of a quality build where you have 14 or 15 points in every one of your individual skills, while you may unlock a huge amount of the perks in the game and a lot of the really, really powerful perks, you'll never be able to unlock these penultimate perks if you do a build of that nature. The game really incentivizes you to specialize heavily in one piece of this actual attributes tree. So a final word of warning I wanted to make sure you were aware of before we moved on from this live portion. Now for the helpful tips and tools section. Check the links in the description below for directions to some of my favorite tools and videos that I've referenced while going through the game. And you can also click the card on screen now for other videos that I've made on Cyberpunk. From playing the game, I can say gimmick builds are actually fairly viable given that you optimize your armor and cyber deck efficiently. If you're unsure what type of weapons you like using in the early game, feel free to bank the attribute points you gain until you decide on a clear build path. The game has several weapons that you won't even touch until past the prologue, and arm modifications like the gorilla arms or mantis blades are gated behind both a street cred level minimum and an in-game paywall, making them very difficult to specialize in early on. Do not level attributes beyond 5 in the character creator unless you already know your chosen build and will definitely stick to it. I say this because after some quick labbing, if you're attempting to min-max and level 3 attributes up to their maximum level of 20, you only have 5 attribute points in the entire game which can be freely used. Using this endgame build as an example, if at any point I had used 1 more point to level cool or intelligence, I would not be able to max out a 3rd attribute. The tool that I've shown on screen is the build editor tool over at nukesdragons.com. They've recently put out a build editor for Cyberpunk, similar to their previous Skyrim and the Outer Worlds build planners. I've been playing around with this tool recently, and I find it very helpful for playing my builds as I try to take a mid-game player approach to Buildcraft normally. My favorite feature of this is that as I punch in what level I'd like to be at using my attributes, it will automatically let me know if I'm able to take a particular perk at one time. Using this, I can go backwards and take points away from certain attributes before I invest them in my actual physical game. As well, the tool's developers have a roadmap on their website so you can see the current progress that they've made in updating and improving the tool over time. Special thanks to any of you guys who watched all the way to the end of this video. I hope this video has helped illuminate some of the weirder points of the attribute, skills, and perk system in the game. If any of you have questions, feel free to leave a comment or message me on my Twitter. I'll do my best to answer any and all questions, or at the very least be able to point you guys in the right direction of someone who can. In the future, I'm planning to put out some of my favorite Cyberpunk 2077 builds on this YouTube channel. If there's a build you guys are itching to see, drop me a comment and let me know about it, and I'll try and make a video out of it. A big thanks to any new subs as of late and any support. This was my second ever scripted video, and it took quite a while to put together. With all that said, I've been JB Firepledge, you guys have been a wonderful audience, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.